Okay, y'all. I just want to say something about this story that's really kind of a trash story. It's rumor. It's gossip. It's something that I think it's best not to pay attention to. But I do think that it's worth asking ourselves a question about it now that it's sort of been turned on its head. The story that you may or may not have heard of, and I'm not going to name names. You can find it online somewhere, but the point for me is not the story itself. It's it's what media types are trying to do to us. How they try to manipulate us. The story involved some girl who was an Ole Miss student, and she's not a celebrity. She's not anybody famous. She was just some girl, and she had a boyfriend, and there was this rumor awash. I guess maybe her boyfriend was some upcoming college athlete or something like that. I mean, that must have been the case. I'm just recalling that now, um, because otherwise, why would this have any relevancy to the general public at all? But it must be that he was either a basketball player or a football player or something. And she was his girlfriend, and the story was, the rumor going around was that she cheated on him with his father. And there were a lot of um, outlets that ran with this story, um, and didn't identify the girl by name, but they said this had happened, and um, a couple of the red pill guys talked about this story. Sort of saying, here you have the uh, hose ain't loyal kind of uh, show proving itself to be true. Um, and and uh, and Pat McAfee, who is a sports commentator, talked about it as well. I think he used to have a show on ESPN. Now I think he has just his own show. I don't know him that well. I do know a little bit about him, just because he was covering Aaron Rodgers. He was doing weekly interviews with Aaron Rodgers, and I was and am a fan of Aaron Rodgers for taking the stand that he took. So that's how I came to know of Pat McAfee. But anyway, so that was the story like a couple months ago, and I remember just hearing about it, hearing people talking about it, and now the new thing is, in the last couple days, we're hearing, oh no, the story was all untrue. This was a total falsehood. This was just a vicious and untrue rumor, and that's all we're hearing. There's the girl herself has come out and has given an interview and said none of it was true, and talked about how she was subjected to all kinds of harassment, and that shouldn't have been happening, even if it was true. Uh, it's really nobody's business, and people should just mind their own business and get on with their own lives. But anyway, she's giving an interview saying it was a false, vicious rumor, and And now a couple of outlets are saying, "Oh, this thing that was this story that was told, this rumor that was told of this faithless girlfriend who cheated on her college athlete boyfriend with his father. That's not true. It's been shown to be not true." But the problem is, all that we have now is the girl herself saying that it wasn't true. So it's like, what I get the sense of is this is some kind of whiplash. Like they were broadcasting the story before and saying, these are what reports say this happened, um, and nobody was denying it at the time. The girl wasn't going on record denying it. The boy wasn't going on record denying it. The father wasn't going on record denying it. Um, but now, uh, but now we just have the girl coming out and saying, no, it never happened. And I'm not saying it did happen, okay? But what I just became aware of is, like, okay, we were supposed to believe that it was true before because there were apparently all these insiders who knew. And now we're supposed to just think, oh, that was terrible that anyone thought it was true, and you know, totally go the other way because the girl is now coming out publicly and denying that it was true. But how do we know? How do we know that it's not true just because the girl denies that it's true? You know? And again, the point for me isn't so much the question of whether or not it was true, whether or not it happened, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a junk story. It's trash. It's rumor. It's gossip. It's nobody's business. It's irrelevant. But why are they ping ponging us from one thing to the other, from one side to the other? Is this some kind of social experiment? You know, I that's what I wonder. You know, because they do run experiments on us. There's no question about that. They've even admitted to it. Social media runs experiments. You know, they come out with some new thing and you know, just see how people react to it, and then presumably somebody is taking notes somewhere saying, so this is how people were reacting. Interesting. So that's what's making me think that this whole thing might just be some contrivance. And first it was like, oh, you know, getting men to say, oh, you know, like hoes ain't loyal, and getting the red pill people to just jump on it and you know, amplify it. And now it's, oh, you red pill people, you know, you guys, aren't you ashamed? Because look, she's saying she denied it. She's denying it. So, and you know, I'm sorry to be rude, but how is her denying it proof that the story isn't true? You know, where's the, if you're trying to make a claim that the story isn't true, where's the positive evidence that it wasn't true? You know, I want to hear from the boyfriend. I want to hear from the father. I want to hear from others. You know, how did this rumor get started? Why did this rumor get started? They're not talking about any of that. They're just saying the story wasn't true. Here's the girl, and she's denying that it was true. Okay, that's not very much to go on. So what are they doing? What is up with this story, really? That's what I want to know.